Good morning, dear students. I hope all of you are gone through the previous lecture and understand what are the contents of this particular subject. Now, let us start our first unit, the spur gear. Now, let us see what are the contents of this unit. The first is classification of gears. Then second is the basic of spur gear, that is definition and its terminology. Then next part is fundamental law of tooth gearing. Then involute and cyclical profile. After that, we need to study the path of contact and arc of contact, as well as conjugate action and the contact ratio. Next is find out the minimum number of teeth to avoid the interference, and we need to just study the interference and undercutting. These are the two concepts, and at the end the force analysis and the friction in the gears. In this lecture we will try to cover the classification of gears according to the different conditions. Now we will understand the gear. What is a gear? Gear is a power transmission device which is used to transmit the power from one shaft to another shaft by progressive engagement of teeth. So the gears have a tooth which is engaged into each other, which will be responsible for power transmission by progressive engagement of it. The main function of the gear is to transmit the power and speed and increase the torque. So what is the function of gears if we enlist it? So first function is to increase or decrease the torque, then to increase or decrease the speed, then move the power from one point to another point and change the direction of power and splitting of the power. As I told, gear is a power transmission device which is used to transmit the power. Likewise, what are the different machine elements which will use to transmit the power from one shaft to another shaft? That is belt drive and chain drive. If we compare the belt drive, chain drive and gears, so gear is a positive drive, then belt drive is a non-positive drive. As there is a slip is present while transmitting the power in case of belt drive, that's why it is called as a non-positive drive. In gears, the power is get transmitted by progressive engagement of teeth. Therefore, the exact velocity ratio we can obtain as there is no slip. Therefore, it is called as a positive drive. Generally, the gears are used when the shaft distance between the two shafts is small. In that case, we can use the gears. If the center distance between the two shafts is medium, in that case you can go for the chain drives. And if the center distance between the two shafts are large, in that case we have to go for the belt drive. Therefore, while choosing the type of power transmission element, it will be based on how much amount of power it needs to be transmit, whether the velocity ratio needs to be exact, or what is the center distance between the two shafts. Based on this condition only, we need to select the appropriate type of power transmission element. Now we will discuss the classification of gears. Now, classification of gears according to the shaft position. In that, first is the parallel axis. Now, according to the parallel axis, basically there are four types. The first is spur gear, then second is helical gear, third is rack and pinion, and fourth is internal gear. Out of that, spur and helical gear will have the parallel shafts only. The change it is in the form of tooth. Now teeth are parallel to the axis of the shaft in case of spur gear, but in case of helical gear the teeth makes an angle with the axis of rotation. That angle is called angle of helix. The spur gear is having noisy operation and helical gear is a smooth one. The smoothness it is because of the helix angle which is provided to the tip. Now the engagement of the teeth in case of spur gear, it is a sudden contact, That's why it creates the noise. But in case of helical gear, the smooth engagement is there, which will be results into the smooth engagement, and the noise is get reduced, but at the same time the efficiency is get reduced. Rack and pinion is a special case, and in that rack will be reciprocating and the pinion will be rotating. And the fourth one is the internal gear. In about three cases, that is spur gear, helical gear, and rack and pinion, all having the external teeth. But in case of internal gear, the teeth are cut internally, and where the space limitations are there, in that case we can go for the internal gear bearing. Now the second type is according to the intersecting axis of shaft. Basically there are three types: the straight bevel gear, spiral bevel gear, and the meter gear. So what is the difference between the bevel gear and the spiral bevel gear? The straight bevel gear is having the straight teeth, and the spiral bevel gear is having the teeth which are in the form of spiral. Again, the bevel gear, straight bevel gear, and the spiral bevel gear is having the same concept as that of the spur and helical gear. The efficiency of a straight bevel gear is more if we compared it with the spiral bevel gear, and the operations in case of straight bevel gear is noisy as compared to the spiral bevel gear. Now, the third position of the shaft is non-parallel and non-intersecting. In that, there are two types. The first one is worm and wormhole, and second is the screw gear. It is also called as skew gears or cross helical gear. If we modify the position of a shaft of helical gear and makes an angle with two shafts, in that case it is get converted into the skew gears. And the worm and wormhole is a special case of that skew gears. Now in case of worm and wormhole, the shaft angle is 90 degree. The efficiency of a non-parallel and non-intersecting shaft gears is lowest if we compare with other uh, gear. The mechanical efficiency of worm and wormhole is lowest if we compare other types of gears. Let us take the review of a classification of gears. The first is the shaft position. If the shaft position is parallel to each other, in that case there are four types of gears: spur gear, helical gear, rack and pinion, and the internal gear. Second is the intersecting shafts. In that, the angle between the two shafts are generally 90 degree. And what are the types of it? The types are meter gear, straight bevel gear, and the spiral gears. The angle between the two shafts is 90 degree and they are intersecting. That is the speciality of these types of gears. The third position of the shaft is non-parallel and non-intersecting. In that, there are basically two types: screw gear and worm and wormhole. Now screw gear is a special type of helical gear, and if we are just making an angle with 90 degree, that will becomes the worm and wormhole. In practical application, other than these basic types, there will be some power transmitting elements will be acts as an gears. The first one is involute spline shaft and its bushing. Then second is a gear coupling. Now the third one is ratchet and pawl mechanism. So this is the review of the classification of gears. Now in this single slide you can observe all the connections of all the type of gears which we have studied in the previous slides. Now if we start from the right side, from there is a straight bevel gear. On the same shaft there is a connection of spiral bevel gear. The spiral bevel gear, it is get connected to the spur gear pair. Then spur gear pair, it is connected to the helical gear pair. Helical gear pair, it is connected to the again spur gear pair. After that, that spur gear pair, it is connected to the involute spline shaft and its bushing. On that spline shaft, there is a meter gear is get mount, and that meter gear pair, it is connected to again the spur gear pair, which will be again connected to the involute spline shaft and its bushing, and that involute spline shaft and bushing is connected to the gear coupling. That gear coupling is connected to the internal gear pair. Then internal gear pair, it is connected to the worm and worm wheel, and worm and worm wheel is connected to the screw gear. On the screw gear shaft, there is a ratchet and pawl mechanism is mount, and at the end there is a rack and pinion arrangement is there. That rack and pinion arrangement is connected to the swing. So in the single slide, you can find out how the gears are connected with each other, and how the power is get transmitted, and what is the position of the shaft if that particular uh, type of gear is get selected. So in this particular single slide, you can observe the connection of a gear pair as well as the positions of the shafts. So the for any mechanical application, the gear is a main element which is used as a power transmitting element, which will be responsible for working of that particular equipment or a machine. Now let us discuss the practical application of gears. In that, the first is application of spur gear. In this particular slide, the sliding mesh gearbox is shown, which is having the 4 gears. Now, what is the basic need of the sliding mesh gearbox? The gears are meshing by sliding, so teeth should be parallel to the axis, so that after shifting the gears, it should get engaged properly without any problem. Therefore, spur gears are used in the sliding mesh gearbox. The second gear is a helical gear. So what is the application of helical gear? Now in this particular slide, the constant mesh gearbox is shown. In the constant mesh gearbox, the gears are engaged constantly, and by moving the dog clutch, we can shift the gear. So here the power transmitting capacity of a constant mesh gearbox is required to be more, as it is used in the buses and trucks. At the same time, the engagement should be smooth and the operation should be less noisy. So by considering this, we have to choose the helical gear instead of the spur gear for the constant mesh gearbox. Helical gears are also used in the synchromesh gearbox. Now, synchromesh gearbox is the modified version of constant mesh gearbox, where the gear shifting is make easier as compared to the constant mesh gearbox. In today's trucks and buses, we are using the synchromesh gearbox instead of the constant mesh gearbox. In case of helical gear, because of the angle of teeth, that is the helix angle, which will be responsible for production of axial thrust, which will reduce the efficiency of the helical gear. Now to decrease the effect of axial thrust, we can use the double helical gear. Now in this particular slide, the gearbox which is used in the cement mill, which is having the double helical gear as a reduction unit, is shown. Now in double helical gear, the gears which are meshing is having the opposite hand of helix. For example, on a pinion, the right hand helix as well as left hand helix teeth are manufactured, as well as on the helical gear, the opposite hand of helix will be manufactured, and left hand helix will mesh with right hand, and the right hand helix will mesh with the left hand. And because of that, the axial thrust which is produced because of the meshing of right hand helix with left hand and left hand helix with right hand is try to neutralize the effect. Therefore double helical gear used where the torque transmitting capacity requirement is more. The next gear is a rack gear. So what is the application of rack gear? The rack gear is generally used in the lathe bed where we can move the carriage on the lathe bed with the help of a rack gear. It is also used in the vertical drilling machine where the position of a cutter can be changed with the help of a rack gear. So these are the two practical applications of rack gear which we can see in the workshop, and we can easily observe the movement of a elements if rack is used as a gear. Next gear is a bevel gear. So what is the application of bevel gear? Now the bevel gear is used in the differential gearbox which is used in the four-wheeler. So what is the function of a differential gearbox? The differential gearbox is used to differentiate the speed and torque while taking a turn. When the vehicle is taking a turn, at that time the inner wheel has to travel the less distance as compared to the outer wheels. At that time, if there is no differential gearbox and the power which is coming from the propeller shaft is directly uh, goes to the rear wheels and equally it is get distributed, in that case there is a problem of skidding. So therefore we need to differentiate the speeds of inner wheel and outer wheel so that the inner wheel has to travel the less distance, therefore the less speed should be there, and outer wheel has to travel the more distance, therefore it has to be more speed should be provided to the outer wheels. This can be achieved with the help of bevel gear pair. The arrangement which is shown in this particular slide, it is for the differential gearbox where the sun and planetary gear train is used in the differential gearbox. Remember that the differential gearbox, it is in the passive mode when the vehicle is moving on the straight path, and when the vehicle is taking a turn, at that time only the differential gearbox, it is in the active condition. Now the next is the worm gear pair. Now where this worm gear pair is generally used, if the reduction ratio requirement is more, that means with a limited space, if we want to achieve more reduction ratio, in that case the worm gear pair is used. Now in this particular slide, the gearbox for a crane drive is shown. Generally worm gearbox is used in the material handling equipments like crane, elevators, and uh, belt conveyor. Now in this slide, worm gearbox with side type construction is shown. The drawback of this gear is the efficiency. The efficiency of this gear pair is the lowest one. As the efficiency is low, therefore the heat generated in the gearbox is more, and because of that on the worm gearbox the fins are provided. In this particular slide we can observe that the fins are provided on the casing, and it is because of the thermal consideration. As the heat is get generated in the gearbox, it needs to be dissipated to the surrounding. To achieve it, we have to provide the more surface to the surrounding, and to increase that surface we are providing the fins. As we seen in the spur gear, teeth are parallel to the axis of the gear. So there are some advantages and some disadvantages of the spur gear is there. Because of the parallel teeth, the sudden engagement is there which is result into the noise, as well as there are some advantages we just see first. So it is a simple in construction, as the straight teeth are there, so it is easy to manufacture. It is having the highest efficiency, it is up to the 99%. Then it has the excellent precision rating. Then next, wide velocity range is there. With the help of single spur gear pair we can reduce the velocity ratio up to 6:1, and As the manufacturing is easy, the production cost is low. Spur gear has some disadvantages as well, as there is a sudden engagement of teeth. So because of that, the sudden loading is done on the teeth, which will be result into the high impact stresses, and at the high speed it will create the excessive noise, which is not desirable. Now in the next lecture, we will see the terminology of a spur gear.